Hey, what's up, people? Like and subscribe if you like my book, if you like my video. Now, I'm not really sure what this critical race theory stuff is about because I haven't really taken the time to study it. But I do understand what burning books is about, and I think that a lot of black politicians and a lot of a lot of black people that are socially conscious stop complaining about burning black books and start requesting that they start burning white books, such as any book that says Columbus discovered America should have been burnt 20 years ago. Now, I mean, if that's not an obvious lie, what is? I mean, to keep that book is to literally say, I'm trying to hypnotize myself into being a fool. Is literally trying to say, I'm trying to hypnotize myself into being a fool. Now tell me when I'm wrong. Now, weren't there Native Americans in America when Columbus arrived? Yes, it was. So even to say that he discovered it is ridiculous. It makes no sense whatsoever. Burn it. Okay. Now, Thomas Edison invented a light bulb that only lasted 10 hours. Lewis Latimer invented the light bulb that we use today. So books that say Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, burn them. We don't use that. It never worked. Lewis Latimer worked for him. Books that say Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, burn it. Again, that was Lewis Latimer who worked for him. He invented the phone. Burn it. And while you burning a book, you might as well burn the movies too, because people nowadays don't read, and a lot of people back in the day, they got their information watching movies on TV. Makes no and so while we burning the books, then we got some movies to burn too. And these are the books that should be burnt. So stop complaining. So we need to get a lot of these books out of the school system. But now I would suggest this, that we take all the books that people want to burn, let's take them and research those books to find out what's true and what's false. But you know what? You can't even do that nowadays because you got people running around talking about men are women and women are men. So how can you talk common sense to people, especially in the Republican Party, that the Democratic Party that's running around talking about women are men and men are women. Republican Party, they just they're out there too. They're just as goofy. Check this out. How can you call Alexander the Great great? The man robbed, stole, murdered, and raped. That was his whole thing. He enjoyed it so much, he didn't even go back to Greece. Him and his boys just went around robbing, murdering, killing, and raping people. But you know what? I can understand racism when you look at this guy and you say he's great. The guy was a pervert. He was a murdering pervert. He had no morals. He was horrible. How can you call him great? See, I can understand when people use babies as alligator bait, make postcards with people being lynched. I can understand that if you have a mindset to call Alexander the pervert great. But while we're on this guy, let's straighten something else out. Socrates did not coin the phrase know thyself. That inscription was on pyramids in Egypt, and it was on the temples in Egypt. All of the so-called Greek philosophy, that came from Egypt. All of that came from Egypt. All of that came from the black people. All of that came from the people who invented the telephone, people who invented the internet, people who invented the cell phone, home computers. These are the people who invented philosophy. Hebrew Israelites. It wasn't the Greeks. And even, you want to hear something that's really ridiculous? Why would a Greek library be in Egypt? Let me answer that. Because he went to the library and changed the name. And then Socrates and all these so-called philosophers, they went to Egypt and studied. Then they went back and put their names on all the books, especially Aristotle. That's all this guy did, because there's no way in the world this guy could be a professional in everything. No way in the world he could know everything about everything. You mean you got people who it takes 10, 12 years to become a doctor. This guy's supposed to be a doctor, a doctor, a lawyer, you name it. He wrote a book about it. No, all he did was put his name on other people's works. Burn his books. Burn them. And any movies about him, burn those too. It's all a lie. I had an idea, and I wanted to say, let's take all the books before we burn them, and let's research these books and find out which are true and which are false. But you can't do that in the United States, because in the United States, you got people in the United States that don't know the difference between a man and a woman. How do you begin researching history when you have a people that don't realize there's a difference between a man and a woman? My goodness. When you got, you can understand a country that in the year 2023 still pushing the narrative that Columbus discovered America, when they can't differentiate between a man and a woman. That is a lost country. And expecting any kind of common sense to come out of that, you taking a chance. You are taking a chance. And this country is so goofy. So goofy. The 1914 movie, Birth of a Nation, it depicted black men doing what white men did. We all know that white men were raping black women. Black men were not raping white women. It was the opposite. Then they took this movie and they sent it all over the world. A big lie. So can you expect truth? Can you expect truth out of people that would spread a lie all around the world and still sitting around talking about Columbus discovered America? And guess what? as I grew older and I learned more, I didn't know what to call the people in India because you always add that AN on the end. So you would think that the people in India, so I would think that they would be called Indian. But they were calling Native Americans Indians. So I couldn't call the people in India Indians. Do you know how confusing that was? And it's still confusing because I still don't know what to call them. I always say the people in India. That's how goofy this country is. That's just how goofy it is. Look, movies where Jesus is white, burn it. Movies where the disciples are white, burn it. Look, come on now. How can you believe in the Bible and teach from the Bible, and the Bible tells you that Jesus had hair like mine, feet the color of mine, but then you make a movie and you make Jesus white? You just ignore what you want to ignore and just whitewash it. Spread it on thick and hopefully and the more spread a lie on thick and some stick. Unfortunately, the internet is knocking all that down. How in God's name can you say read the Bible, believe in the Bible, and then say Jesus is white? I mean, do you even believe in God? Do you think God doesn't know you're lying if you believe in God? But you know what's really insane? The Pope prays to a black Jesus. Then when he leaves, he tells everybody Jesus is white. But he prays to a black Jesus. You can't make this up. You can't make this is crazy. It's insane. It's insane to say that Alexander the Great is great. It's insane to say that Jesus is a Caucasian. It's insane to say that Columbus discovered America. My goodness. You know, I started talking off about burning books. But as I talk about burning books, then I just think about the history of this country. And there's a group of people in this country that seems to be totally insane. Totally insane. What people are expected to believe is totally insane. Then Biden goes to Africa where people are starving, need money, they're trying to get their country together. And this guy goes over there talking about homosexual rights. People don't care nothing about no homosexual rights. They're trying to live and eat. And you going over there talking about homosexual rights? And then as race, you don't think they know that the United States is racist? And you going over there talking about morals and this, that, and the other, and then the first thing come out of your mouth is gay rights? Are you out of your mind? Are you thinking about what you're saying? I don't think you are. I mean, my goodness. You know, this was supposed to be about burning books. But you know what? Books are supposed to be representative of history. And then when you look at the books that Republicans want to burn, and you look at the books that Republicans want to keep, it's ridiculous. Why would you want to keep a book that says Columbus discovered America? I mean, anybody who reads that and believes it in 2023 has got to be a nutcase. a total nutcase. And then you're supposed to read the Bible and believe in the Bible, but then the Bible depicts Jesus as black, but you making movies of a white Jesus. Do you know the depth of insanity that is? That is insane. That is absolutely insane. I mean, in making this video, it just makes me think, and talking about books, it just makes me think how insane, with all due respect, that anybody who believes these books would have to be. Because these books are insanity. They're total insanity. And when you read these books, then you can understand why the United States is destroying the ecosystem, putting holes in the ozone. Because there's no common sense here. I mean, common sense is based on knowledge is truth. For anything to contain knowledge, it must be truthful. But if all your books are whitewashed lies, then you're breeding a nation of insane people. Now, if you disagree with me, you're an idiot. Like and subscribe, and if you like the videos, like and subscribe. But if somebody comes up to you talking about, you get into a conversation about burning books, tell the person that you want to start with Columbus discovered America, because that is ridiculous. And you want to get rid of a lot of the movies that perpetrate lies and create a false narrative of history. Catch you later.